Hello there, folks. This is Jay Frost speaking to you from the desk behind, of course, the Philanthropy Mastermind series, where we have shows like today's How to Raise show, all designed around the big issues in fundraising and all expressly for you. Once again, I'm Jay Frost. It's really a pleasure to welcome you here. We are here every Thursday in case this is your first time around. And if you've been here before, thanks for coming back. Today's show, of course, is on Planned Giving 101, launching your program in 2025. We have a great guest to share with you, someone who's been here before. He won't be a stranger to you if you know the field, either of planned giving or fundraising and philanthropy in general. But I'm going to save that introduction for just a moment and welcome all of you. It looks like you've already taken our producer Jack's advice and you're saying hello in the chat. We really appreciate that. And I know our guest will as well. So thank you to everybody, from Michelle, good to see you here, Veronica, Samuel, Deborah, Megan, Brian. I'm not going to read through all the names, but it is really wonderful to see you guys here. And if you have not yet said howdy in the chat, I know that we would love you to do that. Maybe say which part of the country or perhaps the world that you're from, which organization you work with. Feel free to use that space to not only introduce yourself, but to talk with one another. It's a great way to play throughout the course of the conversation today. And in addition, we always have the Q&A. I want to encourage you to use that as well, especially if you have a pointed question or you want your question to remain anonymous. Both great things to do in that space. Of course, once again, today, it's all about Planned Giving 101. And in order to know more about that subject and many others, you'll find a lot of information from this series and all the other programs we've done over the past 9+ years. This is our 10th year, over at the DonorSearch site, the site of our sponsor. So that's available for you at donorsearch.net. Under the resources tab, you'll find hundreds of recordings, including ones from our guest today. So do take a look for that later. If you're interested in getting a recording of today's program, you can do that once again by going over there or by looking at the DonorSearch YouTube site. That's available to you. And we'll make sure the link to that is available for you in the chat. But you will be receiving an email as well if you're here with us live today. And that will mean that you'll get a link to the content, the recording, and if he is interested in sharing it, the presenter can also share the slides with you through that mechanism. Although we'll encourage you to be in contact directly with him as well, since he is a tremendous resource in the field. Now, I want to give you a little bit of an intro to a person who probably doesn't need much of an introduction, and that is our guest today, Tony Martignetti, a friend personally and a friend to the field. He is definitely the evangelist for planned giving. He's helping nonprofits to create, promote, and grow legacy fundraising programs, and he's been doing that for well over a quarter century, which makes him sound older than he is. But there's a lot of depth to his work and gravitas in what he has to say, although there's also a lot of humor in the way he delivers it. He's a former attorney who pivoted to philanthropy in 1997, and he founded Martignetti Planned Giving Advisors, which you can look up on the web. We'll have a link to that in the chat. And he is also the host behind Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio, which has been around for 15+ years. It's the go-to podcast for small and mid-sized nonprofits, the other 95%, as he says. I would argue it is the #1 program for the nonprofit space. We are happy to be trying to catch up to him. He's been doing it not just for a long time, but he goes into depth about so many subjects. One of those is what he'll be sharing today, which of course is this world of planned giving. Tony, thank you so much for being here today.
Jay Frost, what a gracious introduction. Thank you so much. My gratitude also to DonorSearch for hosting us. You're right. I do love the chat. I saw Georgetown, Texas. How could you? Georgetown, Texas. Sounds too incongruous to exist. But I saw, was it Blake? I saw from there. I saw somebody in North Carolina. Where are you from? I'm in Emerald Isle, North Carolina. I live on the beach. Saw a couple of folks from Indiana. Of course, you know, me growing up in the New York City area, I figure everybody in Indiana must know each other, right? All 6 of you. So the 2 of you must know each other. What else do we see that's cool? Oh, Tallahassee. Ah, I love it. In the Panhandle, the capital, Tallahassee. Welcome. Those are some good ones. Fort Lauderdale as well. Sunny Fort Lauderdale. Flagstaff, Arizona. Oh, I think I've been to I know I've been to Arizona multiple times. I think I've been to Flagstaff, actually. Hello, Kendall. What else is fun? Cedar Park, Texas. Oh, there's somebody else. So it's two people from Texas. So you all must know each other. It's only people in New York who don't know each other. Virginia, today, Maine soon. Oh, Reed. Hello, Reed. Reed, you're moving to Maine. That's a big move from Virginia to Maine. Good luck. Hope all your stuff arrives undamaged. What else? Reagan. Reagan from Indiana. There's another Indiana. All right. Montreal. Oh my. Montreal. What can I say? Montreal is Barth. Barth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry is all I can say. I wish we were acting better. Welcome, Barth. Oh, did I just see Ellicott City, Maryland? Oh, I have a old who's that? Oh, that's an old yeah, that's an old fraternity friend from Ellicott City, but he's probably older than you. Columbus, Ohio, welcome. All right, cool. Yes, Barth. It's again. Wish we were doing better. New York City, a couple folks from New York City. Of course, it's a big city, so they don't know each other naturally. And Olympia, Washington. I love it. Thank you from the Pacific Northwest. All right. Let's get formal. Here's our beginning. I saw on Twitter, X, pardon me, X, of course, the average attention span is 9 seconds. And I thought, that's just enough time for my mother to create guilt. I'm coming over for dinner. Can't you stay for the night? I'm coming to stay for the night. Can't you stay the weekend? I'm coming to stay for the weekend. Take me on a cruise. I'm taking you on a cruise. Can't you move back home? I'm moving back home. Let's get cemetery plots. So that's a bit about deeper relationship, right? Of course, motherly guilt at first blush, but wanting a deeper relationship. And that's what I hope for you. I want you to enjoy the deeper relationships that come from a planned giving program at your nonprofit. And so that's why I'm urging your small and mid-sized nonprofit to launch planned giving, certainly for the benefit of your nonprofit's work and sustainability, which we're going to talk about very, very momentarily, but also so you can enjoy these deeper relationships with your potential donors even, and certainly with your donors. And here's how we're going to accomplish that. The what and why, make sure we're all starting on the same page, talk about who your best prospects are, how I strongly recommend you get started in planned giving, where to launch that program. I got a little surprise there for our host, a little host surprise under how to get started, and that's all I'm permitted to say at this moment. He'll just have to, and you will all just have to be on the edges of your seat for that. And, well, let's not overstate edge of your seat. Looking forward. That I think that covers it. You don't need to be on the edge of your seat. Some marketing tips. Yes, easy, low lift marketing. Some continuing ed ideas if you would like to learn more. And then the all-important Q&A. Please do put your questions in the chat. There's already 2 questions. How come there's already 2 things in chat? Maybe they're not questions. We haven't even done anything. It's already I've done a bad job anticipating what you want to know because there's already 2 questions in the chat. But all right, so hopefully they're not about planned giving. But definitely do put your questions in the chat. They're important. That's what is on your mind. That's where your head is at. I'd like to know, and I'd like to relieve any concerns you might have. So Q&A, very important. What and why is my simple definition of planned giving. This is when your donors are considering their long-term plans, their estate plan and their retirement plan, and how you fit into it, right alongside their loved ones, right? Right alongside the donor's husband, wife, partner, children, and grandchildren, there's a place for you. That's a pretty serious decision point. It's not the same as writing a check or doing something online or transferring stock. How you fit alongside your work, your mission, your values alongside their dearest loved ones. That's what planned giving is about. And for today, what we're going to focus on, the gift method, we're going to talk about wills. It's gifts of cash to your nonprofit at the donor's death. There are other methods which we are going to gloss over. You'll see, really gloss, because it is called Planned Giving 101, but we're going to breeze through those. Our focus is, and you'll see why, gifts and wills. So that's long-term, right? We're talking about long-term fundraising. Gifts of cash, these accrue as cash at the donor's death. So long-term fundraising goes hand in hand with sustainability. So many of these gifts are going to come to you unrestricted. And I will encourage you to put as much of those unrestricted dollars as you can into your endowment, that long-term savings account where you hopefully never, but at least at the most, hardly ever spend any of the principal. You're only spending the income from that. And in lots of years, maybe not even all the income from that precious savings account. That's your endowment. If your endowment is zero, you're in the right place. You have nothing to worry about. Or as my grandpa Martignetti used to worry about, as my grandpa Martignetti used to say, none you worry, none you worry. If your endowment is zero, a year from now, a couple of years from now, it won't be, because you'll be getting planned gifts. If you're growing your endowment, if you have an endowment already, it may not be. Odds are, I've met very few nonprofits that would say, oh, we have enough endowment. No, we don't need any more of that. No. Our long-term, nah, we're fine. That's pretty rare. So if you're growing your endowment, you're also in the right place. Unrestricted dollars, that's what mostly comes from planned gifts. You put as much of that into your endowment, you're helping grow, ensure, should say, your sustainability. This is not planned giving. This is not what we're doing today. This is not what you'll be doing when you launch your planned giving program, that you'll have to know and learn and recite to your donors, that the tax character of property acquired by a person from the estate of a decedent whose executor opted out of the estate tax regime is the same as it was in the hands of the decedent. No, naturally. It's common knowledge, right? We walk around with this, just like we know that you stop at a stop sign. It's just understood universally. No, we are not going into the Internal Revenue Code. We are not going into detail about the nuances of a charitable remainder unit trust with net income makeup provision, which actually is a thing that exists. It's not just a bunch of words and syllables that I strung together. We are not going into that kind of detail because you don't need it. You don't need it to launch a successful, proactive, scalable planned giving program. So let's get this ugly slide off. That's not what we're doing. Here is what we're doing. Get a finger, grab a hand, fundraising, I sometimes call this. We can take some lessons from these iconic brands and hundreds of others that you could probably name off the top of your head, right? Because when you buy a ticket on a cruise, is that the beginning? That is the beginning. That's certainly not the end of the relationship, right? Get a finger, they want more. Now, I'm not saying that planned giving is salesmanship and it's gimme, 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 gimme. No, that's not the lesson we're taking away. But we are taking away that you're going to be talking to people who are committed to your cause, and you're going to be asking them to take more steps with you, another step at least, including your work in their long-term plans. So of course, you buy something on a cruise ship with Celebrity or any of the others. That's the beginning, right? Because there's the Wi-Fi package, there's the drink package, there's the upgraded suite, there's the spa, there's the upgraded restaurants, right? There's the bridge cruise with the captain. All these things in addition. So that's the parallel. Sort of, you're going to be talking to folks who know your brand well, and you're asking them to take another step with you. So who are these folks? Who are the most likely people to include your nonprofit alongside those dear loved ones that I talked about earlier. They are the people, as I said, who love your work. We know they love your work because they are your consistent, loyal donors. We're talking about folks, when you go back and query your CRM database, you go back, of course, it depends how old your nonprofit is, but let's say you go back 20 years, and these are the folks who have made 30 gifts in 20 years, or 25, or maybe them even just a meager 20, right? Because they only give once a year. But you're going to find folks that have been giving for many, many years. Again, depends how long your nonprofit has been around, but for many of you, probably you have donors who have been giving 20, 25, 30 years, and sometimes multiple gifts in a single year. These are your most loyal, committed donors. These are your best prospects for a gift in their estate plan, their long-term plans, right alongside their loved ones, because they think about you at least once a year. Now, maybe they lapsed a couple of years. All right, look, somebody gave 18 gifts in 20 years. That's fine, as long as that lapsing isn't the most recent. Like if they haven't made a gift since 2022 or 2023, then I don't think they're a great prospect because they're currently lapsed. But if their lapsing was in the past, give them a break. They came back to you. All right, so those are the folks you want. And in terms of age, if you have age, or look, a lot of you are fundraisers, you sitting across a lunch table from people, you could tell the 30-year-olds from the 70-year-olds. I like to start these conversations at roughly 55 to 60 and over, because that's where folks start thinking about these long-term plans of theirs as a method of giving back to the causes that have been important to them. Now, notice I didn't say that's when people start thinking about their long-term plans and writing their first will at 55 to 60. No, should be decades before that, especially if they have children. But the initial planning should be decades before that. But using those plans as a method of giving back to those important causes for themselves and their families, that's roughly the Middle Ages, okay? But if you don't have age in your CRM database, don't worry about it. Grandpa Martignetti, invoke Grandpa Martignetti. None you worry. None you worry. Just use the giving history as a proxy. You'll be fine. Absolutely fine. You're at no disadvantage if you don't have age in your CRM. And I do think you should look to your board for leadership and any new fundraising initiative. I like to see 100% participation among the board. For that, I would suspend the age. Any board member of any age should include you in their long-term plan. And again, as I said, we're focused on wills. We're going to see why that is shortly. But whatever long-term plan, every board member, I like to see 100% participation. What they do after they leave the board, that's between them and their family. But while they're on the board, at least, I like to see that you achieve that goal of 100% participation, or at least strive to it. I've worked with a lot of nonprofits. We've worked toward that goal, but we didn't get there. But it remains an appropriate goal nonetheless. Your most committed volunteers ought to be committed enough to your cause, to your work, your programs, to include you in their estate plan. Got a takeaway here. I hope that's not too subtle. Is it? Is this coming across okay? Is it clear what the message is here? I hope so. When I was talking about the loyal, committed donors that you'll be talking to because they are your best prospects for a planned gift, I said absolutely nothing about the size of those gifts, about their lifetime value as a donor, about the average size of their giving. I'm not being hyperbolic. I don't care if their average gift was $5 or still is $5. $5 average gift. Lifetime value, $75. If they've been giving to you in the across the kind of longevity that I was talking about, then they are an outstanding prospect for a planned gift. They think about you so often. There's a good chance they wish they could give you more, but they can't. They think about you so regularly and over so many years that they're a great prospect for a planned gift. This is not only for your wealthy donors, your major donors. You'll be leaving a lot of money on the table and making a big mistake if you don't take this takeaway to heart. Do not only consider your major donors, your wealthy donors, as prospects for planned giving. See, and I'm so emphatic about this. A mandatory takeaway. It's not good enough. It's just a takeaway. That doesn't do it. It's a mandatory. And by the way, this is one of only two, so you won't be overburdened. Is this coming across right? Not too subtle. Is the message clear here? That this is not only for your wealthy donors. All right. So where do we get started? Charitable bequests, as I've mentioned. We're starting with charitable bequests, simple gifts in wills. Those two are interchangeable. They mean the exact same thing. A gift in someone's will to your nonprofit, that is a charitable bequest. And the little surprise that I promised, the keen-eyed among you, I gave you a clue by breaking it up by first and last name. You'll see that the first letter of each bullet spells out our host, right? Jay Frost. Jay Frost. I'm grateful to Jay for hosting, and he and I have done lots of programs together. He's been on my podcast. He's hosted me here. So an homage, if you will, to Jay Frost. So some things might be a little awkwardly worded. I mean, I got to work within Jay's name, so it's Jay Frost, not Jay Acme. So you got to stick with what you got. Work with what you got. So, but the messages will be very clear. Don't worry about that. Just don't expect to be told. That means that for every gift, now this is in the US, but I'm certain it's true in Canada also. Our northern neighbors, if anything, they're more generous than we are. For every gift that you know about here in the US, there are another 7 to 8 gifts that are out there that you don't know about because it's just so personal and so private to those folks that they're just not going to tell you. No matter how many chances you give them to check a box in an online form or in a mail piece that they've already included you in their will or other plan, they're just not going to do it. So for everyone you know about, there's a bunch of others, 7 to 8. That's US. It's certainly that or more up in Canada. Almost always cash. Yes, I've been doing this planned giving fundraising since 1997. This is my 28th year. Easily 97% of the gifts that I've seen in all those years, simple gifts of cash. So, in case you have naysayers, hopefully the naysayers aren't on your board. I wish that's not true for you. I hope not. But I have no tolerance for the naysayers. They're whiny. I make fun of them because I have no patience for this. Oh, we can't do planned giving because you know what people are going to leave us in their wills? Junk cars and their worthless Hummel collection. That's what they're going to leave us in their wills. We can't do this. What are you thinking? Okay, naysayer. We have no tolerance for you. First of all, second of all, you should think much better of our donors. So hopefully you're not on our board thinking that of our donors that they'll leave us worthless Hummel collections. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3. This guy, Tony M, something, long Tony M, I remember. The rest is, it's a blur. He assured me that 97% of the gifts that we get are going to be the most desirable gifts that can come to us. Unrestricted gifts of cash. So, goodbye, naysayer. Close the door on your argument. You're out. All right? Simple gifts of cash, the most desirable, that unrestricted. Yes, your ordinary income donors love it. That's, goes back to our mandatory takeaway number 1, that it's easy for folks of ordinary means, folks who have been making small gifts to you, modest gifts if you prefer. I just call them small gifts. Doesn't mean they're small people. I'm not commenting on their character. They just make small gifts. That's it. $5 gifts. They're small. This has no lifetime cost for them. They make a commitment to you in their will. as I said at the outset, this is gifts of cash at their death, but they're committing to you now. They've made a gift to you now. When they include you in their will, that's a gift. So we recognize that gift now. We start stewarding them as donors. They've made that commitment. They've made that gift. It'll become cash at their death. And that's why it's easy for ordinary income donors, because there is no lifetime cost. This is the first most popular planned gift. I had to say first most because, he's Frost. If his last name started with an M, like Martignetti, I could have just said most popular, but I got to deal with what we got. So first most, by far, these are the low-hanging fruit of planned giving. Expect at least 3/4 of all your planned gifts forever to be simple gifts in wills. So at least 75%. I've seen it as high as 90%. This is the low-hanging fruit. These are the most popular planned gifts by far. That's another reason these are the place to start. The earlier reason this is the place to start. It's easy for your ordinary income donors, okay? These are the reasons why. That very first bullet, don't expect to be told, because folks don't have to tell you. That's reassuring to them. That's another reason bequests are the most popular planned gift. It's reassuring to folks that they don't have to tell you if they don't want to. All right? So all these things together, reasons why charitable bequests, gifts and wills, are the first most popular planned gift by far. Revocable but valuable. Yes, somebody could change their will at any time. There's a line in a Woody Allen movie. He's upset at some relative and he yells up the stairs, "Bring me my will and an eraser." We can change our wills at any time, but you're going to be good stewards of these gifts. Remember, right? I said they made their gift when they tell you that they made their commitment. Hopefully they tell you. As we know, a lot of folks won't. But for the ones who do, you're going to steward them because they are donors. So you're not going to have to worry about the small percentage of folks who change their minds. That's not going to happen to you. So these are revocable, but wildly valuable. Oh, so easy for your donors and your staff. Indeed. Indeed, that is true. I wouldn't have put it there if it wasn't true, right? The guy's not talking falsehoods. Of course it's true. Yeah, but why is it true? Okay. That's what we're trying to get to, the why. It's easy for your donors because 3 things are true about wills. Everybody knows what a will is. Everybody knows how wills work. And everybody knows they need a will. Those 3 things are in your favor. One more time. Everybody knows what a will is. Everybody knows how wills work. And everybody knows they need to have one. So you don't have to talk about the nuances of charitable remainder unit trust with net income makeup provision when you're meeting with your donors. You don't have to educate your donors. Everybody's on a common playing field. We all know what wills are. We know what we're talking about. We don't need to spend marketing time and resources devoted to why life insurance could be a good planned gift, or charitable lead trusts could be a good planned gift, and they are. But that's not where you get started. What's the sides? All right, get too excited. What does the slide say? How to get started. This is where you start your planned giving program. You don't need to start it with life insurance or charitable remainder unit trusts, blah, blah, blah. You're starting with what your donors understand. And for your staff, oh, so easy for donors and staff. You don't need to train up your staff. We know what we're talking about, wills. So those precious marketing dollars that you don't have to spend educating your donors. On the flip side, for your staff, you don't need professional development time and dollars devoted to learning the nuances and the intricacies of the various different types of planned gifts, which we're about to breeze through shortly. I mean, breeze. You don't need it. That's why we're going to breeze through the other alternatives. Simple gifts and wills. Small lifetime donors deserve your respect. Yeah, no, that's true, right? You're acknowledging all your gifts, certainly within 24 hours. If it's an online gift, it's probably within 60 seconds, right? I don't care. Those $5 donors, what do we know about them now? They're your future planned giving donors and prospects. So I hope they're getting your respect with small dollar donors. Please. I hope every single gift is getting acknowledged. 2025, it needs to be. And the giving histories are unbelievable. You know, when you look back, you'll see those folks who have made, like I was saying, 30 gifts in 20 years, right? It's the devotion when you're going back and looking at commitment, loyalty, the devotion to your work. It's amazing, but it may be below your radar because you're a lot of queries for so many purposes that we query for. There's a there's a minimum gift size. We know now that that's inappropriate for finding our best planned giving prospects who will become our planned giving donors, right? So when you eliminate that minimum gift size, that minimum average, the minimum lifetime value, we don't care what their lifetime value is, you'll see it's moving the loyalty among a lot of your donors. And as I said, they become they're your future planned giving donors, and not too far in the future, because you're going to get started. We can start this. We can start having planned giving conversations. I don't know. Today's Thursday. Take Friday. Think about it. Weekend, of course, off. Monday. Yeah, I'd say by Tuesday. Monday queries. Right. Okay. Monday, do your queries for the longevity and the loyalty. Tuesday, you review the list. Okay, these are the folks I know. I'd say by next Wednesday. So inside of a week, you're starting your planned giving program. Eminently doable. Number two, I said there were two of these. This is the last one. Mandatory. Again, not so subtle. I hope this is not too subtle. That you can have a wildly successful, scalable, proactive, appropriate planned giving program and never, ever, ever go beyond promoting gifts and wills, the charitable bequests that we just got through talking about. 20 years from now, you're still only promoting gifts and wills. You're going to capture a minimum 75% of all the gifts that you would have gotten anyway if you had expanded into other methods that we're going to talk about. No, we're going to breeze over. You don't ever have to go beyond bequests. You can, but take comfort. You don't ever need to. Okay, but if you decide to, again, this is called Plan Giving 101, so let's stick with that, and we're going to breeze through these as I've said. Okay, living trust. This is a non-charitable trust. Donors, people set up mostly so that they can avoid the court process of their will being processed or probated, we call it. And these living trusts, they're during people's lives, and you could be a beneficiary of the remainder of a living trust. The IRA rollover here in the States, this is it's called popularly it's called IRA rollover. Technically, it's a qualified charitable distribution. This is only for donors who are 70 and a half or over. They can make an immediate gift of cash from their traditional IRA to your nonprofit. So that is a gift of cash today. The financial asset beneficiaries, really, any financial asset that has a payable on death clause, like life insurance is a perfect example, right? When the death benefit of a life insurance policy gets paid, it has to be paid to some people. Well, you could be a charity among those people. So maybe family comes first, and then there's maybe 5 or 10% of the death benefit is named for your charity. And there are other examples of that beyond life insurance. Lots of brokerage accounts have these. You need to fill the owner of brokerage accounts. You may have done this yourself. You got to fill out a beneficiary form. If I should have a sudden death, where do the benefits of this account go? So all kinds of financial assets like that. Checking and savings accounts often have those as well. You could be named a beneficiary. I said we're breezing. Charitable gift annuities. Heavily regulated here in the U.S. This is a contract. Your donor makes an irrevocable gift. They get payments for lifetime. Could be for the payments could be for their own life and their spouse or partner. And then at the death of the survivor of the two people or the single person, what remains is a gift to your nonprofit. Charitable remainder trusts are similar to charitable gift annuities in that it's lifetime payments, lifetime income. But these are typically done at higher dollar levels because they're individually managed trusts versus charitable gift annuities, which the gift proceeds of which are commonly managed in a common fund. So charitable remainder trusts, Again, typically higher dollar, wealthier individuals doing those. Retained life estate, that's a gift of real estate. If someone owns a piece of real property and they don't want it as part of their estate, maybe their children don't really care to use Reed Stockman as an example. Maybe your home is in Maine and the kids don't like to go to Maine. Reed, maybe they prefer to be in the Virginia, D.C. area. So I hope you don't mind me giving you a call out there, Reed. So they don't want the house in Maine. So Reed could create this retained life estate, and that would transfer his Maine property to your nonprofit at his death after he's lived there for his lifetime. And charitable lead trusts, that's a very rare gift done by particularly wealthy people. It's very rare because it's giving income to your nonprofit, and then typically the proceeds go back to the donor or to the donor's heirs at their death. It's rare because most of us are trying to increase and accumulate income, but the charitable lead trust gives away income to a charity, but highly rare, very rare. I've done 2 of these in 28 years. Okay, and that's a breeze through, quick breeze through of the other things that are out there around planned giving. But let's remember mandatory takeaway number 2. We don't need those things. We don't need them. We certainly don't need them now in our launch. That's in concrete. And maybe in polypropylene or polystyrene, we don't need them for the future. We could use them. We could cut out the polypropylene and dig in and start promoting some of these other types of gifts, but we don't have to. They are safely entombed in the polypropylene if we don't ever want to go beyond charitable gifts. Okay, that's enough with the construction and materials metaphors. I can't go anywhere concrete and polypropylene. So this is what we've done so far. Take a look at these things, and we've got some marketing tips coming up. Time looks very good. We're right on time. Time versus goal, right on time. Everything's good. I hope you're putting the Qs in the chat. I'll have A's for you for the Q&A. See how I did that? You see how I wove that in there? It's very subtle, very subtle. Of course, if the guy was a real professional, he wouldn't have called out his own whimsy. Yeah, it's bad. You got to work on that. Some marketing tips. I got some ideas for you. These are low lift, low dollar ideas for promoting planned giving. All right. At events, next time you're drafting speaking points, and maybe you're tasked with drafting those bullets, or maybe you're the speaker, put a couple of sentences in about planned gifts, about gifts and wills specifically. Here, like I'll dictate. Like you could say, of course, this is not your opening, right? This is not the opener, but in the speaking remarks, you all love us dearly. You love our work. That's why you came out this afternoon. We're starting to focus on the long term. We're thinking about our sustainability because we know how important this work is in our community, and we know that you know how important this work is in our community, how important it is that our work survive, that it be here 20, 30, 40 years from now, decades and generations in the future. Our work is still going to be important in our community. So we're focused on our sustainability. And as part of that, we're asking folks to include us in their long-term plans. So is that something you would consider? It's so easy for you to include us in your will. And you could talk to, I already called out Reed, so I'm not going to pick on Reed Stockman again. Jay Frost. You could talk to Jay Frost in the back. And he's in the corner. He's not very affable. We trot him out when we need to. We need some labor. But he's here, and he's our contact guy. And you could ask him about how important long-term gifts are to our work. And there you go. What was that? Was that a minute or so? There you go. Speaking points. Sidebar in the program. I'm a big fan of sidebars instead of articles. So if you got a digital or print program, whatever, little sidebar. 3 things valuable to share so that people can go off and do this on their own. They don't have to tell you. Remember those 7 to 8 that are never going to tell you? A lot of folks don't want to. 3 things to share. Your legal name of your nonprofit, right? So if that has a Inc. after it, or the formal legal name that you're incorporated under. your office address, and your tax ID number. Okay? For our northern neighbors, what's that? It's your federal. I know you have a slightly different name for, you don't call it tax ID. Federal identity, federal identifier, is that it? Sorry, I'm not quite up on that. I think I'm close, but more apologies, right, to our Canadian neighbors. We should be completely solicitous to our Canadian neighbors. So, your legal name, address, office address, and tax ID number. 3 things, easy to put into a sidebar. Sidebars, again, big fan of sidebars. You don't have to write 300-word articles, right? Sidebars of articles, sidebars, fantastic. Fantastic. Look at this. Of sidebars or articles. Sidebars of articles. You should flag that in the, I'm sure DonorSearch, is a very sophisticated organization. They're going to send you a survey. You should flag this on slide 14. The guy had a spelling error. Tony M something, it's a blur after the M. I can't remember what he calls himself, but a spelling error on slide 14. Flag that. Sidebars or articles in your newsletter. Talking about print here. We'll get to digital. Obviously, it's the same digital. Sidebars, like in 40, 50 words, you can basically those speaking points that I shared with you for the events, like just put the speaking points into a sidebar in a newsletter or annual report. Annual report also a very valuable place. And if you're listing all your other types of donors, oh my gosh, I see 14 questions in chat. All right, no problem. Time versus goal, we're still okay. 14's a lot. Whew. Annual report. If you're recognizing other donors, you want to recognize your planned giving donors as well, right? So go through that exercise for them as well and invite others to join them. And on the digital side, same way. Sidebars. Oh, okay. Improvement here. Look, or is correctly spelled. So if you're going to flag, that on slide 14 in the survey, then I think you owe me. You should say slide 15. He did spell or correctly on slide 15. So let's be fair and equitable here, right? I mean, let's get both sides. I did do it correctly on this slide. So sidebars or articles in your e-newsletter. Yeah, it's the same as print. Sidebars are better. I hope you don't have to do 300 words on, the value of gifts and wills. That's not necessary. Sidebars, so much easier to write and to get approved too. Right? Easier to get 40 or 50 words approved than 300. Sample page on your website. Yeah, 1 page. That'll do it. Some donor testimonials, in and out. That's it. Maybe some pictures, contact person, right? Jay Frost. We trot him out when we need him. Contact info. That's it. It's easy page on your website. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't have to invest in with these companies that charge by the quarter for planned giving encyclopedias. You don't need that. Tax calculators. You don't need it. Email signature. Everybody in the organization could put this in their will. Put this in there. So yeah, wills, gifts and wills. That's the focus. Could put this in their email signature. How about how easy it is to include us in your will? Low lift. All low lift. Direct mail, if you're doing, so this is now, I'm envisioning direct mail that's devoted to other purposes. Because direct mail devoted to planned giving is expensive, and I'm trying to make it low lift. So in an other purpose mail, buck slip, which is something you print 3 on a page and then it gets cut up. So it's lightweight, does not increase your postage cost. Maybe it's a little different color. Buck slip is horizontal maybe. What's vertical and analogous to a buck slip? A sidebar. Repurpose your sidebars into buck slips, put them into your mail. And the second option here, alternative suggestion, next time you do an order of reply envelopes. So these are the envelopes you're putting in, right? So these are the number 9 envelopes that go inside the number 10 carrier envelopes. The number 9 envelopes, it's addressed back to your office. Next time you do a run of those, on the back flap, put a little check off. Send me information on including your organization name in my will, right? Or if you want to go broader, I'm not sure it's so good, in my long-term plans, but I like in my will. And then whoever, of course, the Cajun company or whoever opens your mail need to flag those reply envelopes that are checked off when they come back. Again, you're no cost because you're printing the envelopes anyway. Again, this is not devoted to planned giving. So just print something on the back flap. And this is everything that we have covered with zeal. Yeah, I would say, right? That's pretty zealous. I'd say zealously. Yeah. Certainly enthusiastic, but I think it rises to zeal, frankly. I think it was zealous. I got one slide on continuing ed. If you'd like to learn a little more, here's a book recommendation. The title should not surprise you that I love this book, Plan to Giving Simplified. It's on my bookshelf. It goes deeper into other types of plan giving methods, but and for that reason, I think it's very valuable. Also, there's a QR code for a free download that I have, Unleash the Game-Changing Power of Plan Giving at Your Nonprofit. You can snap that code. If for some reason you don't have a scanner, that seems unlikely, but you could go to the little URL there, the short URL, tony.ma/guide. You got to use all lowercase, and you get it that way. But you snap that QR, and you'll get the free how-to guide. It goes into more detail about everything we talked about today, but certainly same philosophy. Simple. Gifts and wills, the place to focus. So I'll leave that up just for a minute, and let's take our first question, Jay, and then I'll take this slide down after we get this first question. How about
Sure.
that?
And Tony, before you begin answering the questions, both to let people have a chance to grab that QR code, but also to include any of the questions that they didn't have a chance to put up yet. I wanted to let people know what's coming up in the next few days. One of them involves you. So we just recorded slightly before today's presentation a podcast interview with Tony about his life. So while you might learn a lot from Tony and you might get a laugh or quite a few laughs from Tony when you listen to him in his own show, you may not know a lot about his journey. And so I hope you'll listen to the PM podcast where we have interviews with change makers in the field, and that'll be dropping this Friday night. Then on next Tuesday, March 18th, our Frontlines of Social Good show will explore game-changing tech for nonprofits, what's next and why it matters, with veteran tech entrepreneur and investor Jay Love. Plus, media maven Julia Campbell is going to join us to talk about her new book, Minimalist Marketing for Nonprofits. And next Thursday in this show, How to Raise, we feature Brian Lacey on getting the most from prospect identification screenings. That's again next Thursday at 1 p.m. And you can learn about all that on this site of our sponsor, DonorSearch. That's available for you there. You can sign up for their announcements, but you can also just look at their feed, both the DonorSearch feed on social media, as well as the posts that I put on social media. So Tony, with that, please fire away and take those questions.
Yeah, let's. Oh, you want me to read them? Okay.
Well, I can read them to you. Sure, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, that'll be a little quicker. Yeah, because then when I'm answering, you can be curating the next question. Okay. I love that you got, aside from Brian, you got Jay and Julia coming. JJJ coming.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead.
Yeah, keep it alphabetically aligned.
I'm going to take this down now, and it's easier if you fire the questions at me.
Great. Be happy to do it. And by the way, while you're doing that, that Plan Giving Simplified book is on my shelf too. So
that's it. Yes.
It's a classic. All right. So I'm going to start just in sequence. Here.
Let's go. Yes.
We had a few questions from Michelle, actually. So the first one was, what are the first steps to launch a Plan to Giving program at our nonprofit? And you may not know much about their nonprofit, but what would you kind of say in general?
Well, I think we just did that. Who's that from?
That's Michelle.
Michelle, welcome. Thank you for your question. Michelle, I hope you feel more confident now than you did when you posted the question, because we know how to get started. Look for your most committed, loyal donors and start talking to them about gifts and wills. I think you could do it inside a week. What did I propose? Next Wednesday? Yeah, next Wednesday. You could start next Wednesday, Michelle.
And she can check back with us next Thursday and let us know how it went. So we have another
question. Jay Love.
What are some common misconceptions about Plan to Giving that nonprofits should address with donors?
Well, I should address with donors. No, I don't know about addressing with donors. No, I wouldn't bring up misconceptions about. There are misconceptions about Plan Giving, like for instance, that it's a death conversation. No, you're not talking about the death. You're talking about life, the life and sustainability of your nonprofit. So it's not about death. I don't know, misconceptions that donors have. I mean, your conversation. Who's this from?
This is also Michelle.
Michelle. Oh, 2 questions. Oh, you're very generous. 2 questions from Michelle. Did she do all 14?
She did not.
Didn't do all 14. Okay,
here, but no.
Okay, she's not that prolific, but she did the first 2. Now, Michelle, your conversations with donors are about the importance of your work in the community and how important that it is vital to the community that work be sustainable. And the gift in your will is intended to and will help us put off and or prevent the ugly future of our work ceasing in the community. That's what the conversation is all about. How important your work is in the community and how they can make sure it's sustainable. Okay. Thank you,
Now,
Michelle.
this is from Karen, who wrote, I know it's an independent decision, but if asked, do you suggest recommending a set gift amount or a percentage of the estate?
No. No. If asked, um, I've been doing this 28 years. Who's this from? Michelle? No.
No, Karen,
Okay. We're done with Michelle. Michelle's questions are done
for the moment.
for the moment. Karen, I'm not sure, I mean, can I remember every moment over the past 28 years of plan giving fundraising? No, I cannot. But I don't think I've ever been asked, how much would you like me to put you in my will for? And I've asked thousands of people. So it's not likely that's going to happen. But just for a broader point, we don't ask for a gift amount in a will. That's too personal. We don't ask for a gift amount or a percentage. It's just too personal. I mean, the only time you do that is in a campaign for campaign credit, but that's a whole different subject. We could do a webinar on that. No, I doubt you'll be asked, Karen. I doubt you'll be asked, and don't ask if you're not asked.
Helen had asked this kind of early on in the presentation, which is, should a small organization just include all donors initially?
Helen, I don't know. How small? I mean, no, well, I shouldn't say, only if it's low cost. I mean, folks in their 20s and 30s, first of all, they may not even have a will. And if they do, the likelihood of that gift remaining in their will until their death 70 or 80 years from now is small. So I don't know about including everybody. No, I think you should keep it to your most loyal, committed donors. And look, Helen, if that's only half a dozen people, then that's half a dozen people this year. Maybe in a couple of years, it'll be a dozen and a half. But I would keep it more to the loyal, committed donors. Yeah.
This is from Brian, who asked, how should we document planned gifts in our CRM if we're notified?
Make them a member of your recognition society, Brian. So you have a recognition society for other donors, presumably, like at the $50 level or the $1,000, whatever denominations you have levels of giving at. You should have a planned giving recognition society. So make them a member of that. So that'll be coded, right? That'll be a tag in there in your CRM. And in terms of dollar amount, you just say what the dollar type of a gift is. If they happen to reveal a dollar amount, you could put that in a note. But I wouldn't. You don't list it as a pledge. I wouldn't do that. It's too circumspect for that.
This is a question from Kay. I hope I'm reading this correctly. Can we use official DBA in sidebar?
Oh, that's interesting. Who's this from? Kay?
Kay.
Kay. Thank you, Kay. Can you use a DBA in the sidebar? Yeah. As long as DBA for everybody doing business as, as long as you can accept checks under the DBA, which I'm sure you can, then somebody could name you in their will. Yeah, but I don't know. I like to go to the legal name, but I can understand, Kay, how that might cause confusion. I understand that. So in that case, if it's going to be confusing to donors, then of course use the DBA. Yeah.
Beth had asked about thoughts on a planned giving society. Is it necessary, especially knowing that you might not have many names, as a lot of folks might not tell you that they've made a planned gift, or can the society just start with recognizing their names on a dedicated web page?
Yeah. Kay, to answer, no, I'm sorry.
This is Beth.
Beth, I'm sorry. Beth, to answer your specific question, is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. Woo, look at that zoom out. Oh, center stage. Does anybody have an Apple Cinema display? It's called Center Stage. It's out of control. You can't. And if I turn it off, it blurs the background. And I don't like that because see, I got Beetle Bailey. See Beetle Bailey there. The old. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Oh,
good thing I don't do. It's a good thing I don't do weather on TV. There. See, that's Beetle Bailey. So I don't want to blur out my background. So this Center Stage thing, I'm not enamored with. But you can't turn it off without it blurring your background. What was the question? I forgot the question. No, I remember the question. Question is it necessary to have a recognition society? Absolutely not. No way. Don't use that, make that a precursor. Just start recognizing folks when you do have maybe half a dozen or so. Yeah, do it that way. The recognition society is not going to move somebody. Oh, okay, I wasn't going to put you in my will, but now I will if I know I could be a member of a recognition society. Something no one has ever said.
Hmm. Then we have a question from Samuel. How important are planned giving societies? I guess you just answered it to the 6
Okay. Yeah. No, I
well,
mean,
maybe reverse it. So, in other words, let's say that you're discussing it and you haven't decided whether or not to do it yet. Now you're deciding to implement. How much of a lift can it really give you if you've decided to do something like that, or does it depend on how much you promote it?
yeah, no, it doesn't really bring you that much. It's just a way of, in some respects, it's a way of making sure that you remember to steward, to be good to your plan giving donors, because you're bringing in all the other recognition societies, right? The $1,000 society,
Mhm.
maybe some organizations may have a $10,000 society. You're bringing in your plan giving recognition society, so it's a method of stewardship. Let's remember. Oh, we got to remember all our donors, all the societies get included in this invitation package or in the VIP seating or whatever it is. So it's a method of remembering and stewarding.
I did want to just read something from the chat, which is a compliment to you, Tony. Your straightforward approach is refreshing after many often convoluted conversations about potential strategies. It's easy to get distracted by topics of donor advised funds, gifts of securities, crypto, et cetera, and then no one knows where to start.
Who should I thank for that?
That's Amber.
Amber, thank you.
So,
Absolutely.
Amber, and by the way, I know she wrote that directly to us, but I hope Amber doesn't mind that sharing because I thought it was a very generous comment.
Thank you,
And
Amber. And
Lily also,
100, right, and spot on, spot on.
and
Okay.
Lily also mentioned, I really appreciate Tony's enthusiasm. This has been very entertaining, at the least, and I know more than that.
Oh, at the least. Oh, who is that? Who do I need to admonish for that?
That's Lily.
Lily, come on. I had a Latin teacher named Lily. You can't be her. Yeah, no, that Lily is dead. No, Lily. Okay, no, I know. You said at the least. I know. It's all in fun.
Yes.
Somebody else loves Amber's. Somebody else said Amber's spot on. Michelle also said Amber's spot on. Yeah, don't get confused. Don't get bogged down by all that shit. You don't need it. You don't need it when you're launching. It's totally unnecessary. Simple gifts and wills. The conversation is about the life and sustainability of your nonprofit. Don't get bogged down by all that nonsense.
Now we do have a last question I've saved for you because it's from Michelle, but it's a good one.
Michelle,
What was the most creative or innovative planned giving strategy you've seen work for a nonprofit? You've given us lots of examples, told us a lot of things, both to do and what not to do, to leave all this stuff, the distraction aside. What are some good case study examples of something that's really worked?
I have as a policy, I do not answer more than 2 questions from the same person. So yeah, pick a different final question.
That's it?
No, Michelle. I'd say it's okay. Most creative. I don't know, most creative, but certainly beneficial. Bequest challenge. You find a donor who will pay maybe $250 or $500 for every new bequest commitment you get. Now that's also not going to move people. Oh well, if you're getting $500, I'll put you alongside my husband, wife, or partner. No, that's not going to move them. But some people who are on the fence, it could make a difference. So if you find a bequest challenge donor to put up maybe $5,000 and $250, so that'll get you 20 of your first bequest gifts. They'll give you a gift of cash for each new bequest gift. That's a bequest challenge donor. Thanks, Michelle. Contributed 3 questions. Michelle.
Well,
There's
I
2 from
think they're
Michelle.
all,
Michelle
I think
Gardner,
they're all
Michelle.
from this.
2 from Michelle's. Who are the Michelle? The Michelle's are dominating. What? Michelle Gardner? Is she the
A
one
lot
with
of
the 3
Michelles
questions?
in here in the room, and we appreciate each and every Michelle who is
We
here.
do. Is there a Michelle Libinati? In 8th grade, I had a terrific crush on 2 girls. Lisa Maggio, which you can learn about the Friday thing with PM and Jay. We talked about Lisa Maggio. And then so she was LM, but then there was ML, Michelle Libinati. Is there a Michelle Libinati on?
I don't see that Michelle here.
All right.
But
L's and M's. L's and M's. Oh, Michelle Rincon. Oh, sorry, you're not the right Michelle.
yes.
Well, I'm glad you joined us, Michelle Rincon, but
Tony, I
Still
want to
looking for
thank you
Michelle
for all this.
Libinati.
I know we're coming to the end, and you said something else during, which I really appreciated, which is you made an allusion to surveys in the middle of all this. We do have a survey at the end here, and it's really, really vital to us that we know what works and what doesn't. So please be truthful, be ruthless, be laudatory, be whatever you want to be, but do participate. You're going to see that as soon as you close out today. So please just fill that out so we'll know what you want to see and hear in the future. That's how we do our programming, is based on that survey. So If there's a person you want to hear, a subject you want tackled, we'll do it. And that even includes if you want to bring Tony back or any number of Michelles, we would be happy to do any of those things. So,
And
yes.
I see some very gracious comments. So thank you, Helen. I'm glad it was valuable. Amber, thank you for sharing. Beth, I'm glad it was valuable to you as well. Yeah, cut through the noise of planned giving. Please, please.
Thank you so much for this, Tony. Really appreciate it. Really
Bye,
appreciate
everybody.
all of you being here. Please do fill out your survey. And if you want to learn more about our sponsor, you can also click the QR code you're about to see. So hope to see you all next week. Till then, take care.
Bye, Michelle.